Hey y'all, welcome back to How Luther Became Dugan. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far and glad to see you back. And this is Dugan and I'm Jill, his daughter. And today he's going to share with you why he never drank beer. All right, Daddy, take it away.
Okay, this never was that big a story, I didn't think, till once upon a time I met a man by the name through cancer treatment, and he was too at the same time, and we met at the cancer center in Chandler, Arizona. And I talked with John about it. Well, we were in there every day, 5 days a week. He and I both were, or I was at least, and he was there often enough for me and him to get acquainted. We enjoyed each other's company, or I enjoyed his, and come to find out he was enjoying mine too. And one day, John brought me a poem that he had written, maybe the only poem he had ever written, but he wrote it for me, and I'd like to share it. I didn't write it, so I'm not sure how I'll stumble through this, but I'll try. And he named it Dugan. I met a man the other day. Dugan is his name. Ever since our chance to speak, my life won't be the same. We had a chat, and I listened to what he had to say. In a few short moments, I could not turn away. His, he pens poetry in prose, the like I've never seen, stories from the past and places he has been. So, a southern man, a gentleman with tales to tell, makes you laugh and holds you in his spell. I hope you meet someone like Dugan along the way. He will do for you what he did for me. He will make he will make your day. I wish I'd met him long ago. So sad. A little mischief, and a lot of fun we would have had. The time we spent, I'll always treasure. To meet a man of such great measure. Best of luck, Dugan, and all you do, making people happy is your mission true. And I really appreciate John, and we are still in touch today. John's kind of a miracle, man. He's kind of like my mother. They didn't give John much chance to live about I don't know, probably 13, 14 years ago, but he's still there. I talk to him often, not as much as we should, probably not as much as we'd like, but I told John one time, I've told a lot of people this story, but John just, every time I see or talk to him almost, he mentions this. He just thinks it's hilarious. I never drank beer, never was tempted. And John, I told John the story why I never drank beer. I I lived, I don't know, a little less than half a mile from my granddad's house, and starting at about 5 years old, I would go to granddaddy's house anytime I wanted. I'd go down the dead end gravel road or dirt road. When in the beginning it was just dirt, it didn't even have gravel on it. We'd go down, or I would go down the gravel road most times myself if it wasn't with my cousin Faye, who's 10 months younger than me. But we'd go down and help granddaddy with his chores, and I'll tell more stories about that later. But to get to grandmother and granddaddy's house through the pasture, I'd go down the road, then I'd cut through the pasture and come up by the barn, and then go up the hill to grandmother and granddaddy's house and see grandmother and granddaddy. Usually it was granddaddy's house in the morning because he worked in the evenings and grandmother worked in the mornings. So in the mornings when I went there, it was granddaddy's house. In the evenings if I went there, it was grandmother's house. But I'd go see granddaddy to see what chores he wanted us to help him with, because a granddad can always use lots of help from a 5-year old. So I started doing that at 5 years old. Well, all through the years of going down there, Granddad had a horse named Sandy, and many a morning, winter and summer, I've gone by Sandy's stable, and he'd be standing outside the door of his stable, big old puddles out there. And I would see Sandy pee in these big holes, and foam would just come up, and steam in the wintertime, especially steam would be coming up off of there. And I never gave it a thought other than Sandy's peeing. But I must have been about 9 years old, and my dad and I were over on Summit Avenue, which was almost in town from our house. And I guess Mom had told him to get a loaf of bread on the way home, so we stopped at a Texaco service station at the corner of West Side Drive and Summit Avenue. I mean Bessemer Avenue. I don't know why some things just stick out to me, but I can remember that. I could not have been older than about 9 years old at the time. But I went in that Texaco service station to get a loaf of bread, which, by the way, cost about 15, 20 cents at the time. And when I went in, just to the left of the door as I walked in, there was a bar. And
In a gas station?
in a gas station, it was a bar. It didn't have but about 3 stools, but a little short bar there. And they had a keg of beer mounted back there. And I went in and got the loaf of bread, come to pay the man for it. And as I turned to walk out, the guy behind the bar was drawing a mug of beer. And I saw that foam come up on that beer, and I thought to I did a double take. I thought, I know where that comes from. I'm not drinking any of that. I was never tempted to drink beer again. Now, fast forward about 4 or 5 years, I was down at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with my cousin Faye, and probably some other cousins younger than us, and some aunts. At least 2 aunts, maybe 3. But Faye and I were walking kind of down the Grand Strand there at Myrtle Beach way back in the day. This was back in probably the late 50s. And we were walking past the place, and they had sold beer and hot dogs mostly. I remember they sold foot-long hot dogs. I love those. And I saw him drawing another mug of beer, and I thought, no. I told Faye, I said, Faye, I ain't drinking that. I know that looks too much like Sandy's pee. I'm not going to drink that. Now, I don't know how funny it is to everybody, but John loves that story. So this segment, I guess I can say, is dedicated to John.
Nice. Well, thank you, Dad. I've heard that story. I've heard it growing up, and I've heard it when you tell other people, and it's kind of one of those that makes you laugh and go ooh at the same time. So
It just makes me
yeah. So thanks. And I see you've got your poem that you wrote, Carolina. You want to share that with the folks?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you know that you're half North Carolinian and half South Carolinian. And the name of this poem is Carolina, but it's about North Carolina. Your mom's from South Carolina. She never wrote a poem about South Carolina. But this poem, I was staying with my brother Dwight, your Uncle Dwight, and his family for a short time down in North Carolina one time. And Megan, your cousin, Dwight's oldest daughter, she was, I think she was in the 4th grade, I'm not sure. But she came home from school one day and she said, Uncle Dugan, will you write me a poem about Carolina? She said, I've got to write a poem about our home state. And will you write it for me? So I said, well, I'll try.
So was she not? They weren't living in North Carolina at the time.
Yeah, she was.
They were.
Yeah, she was living in North Carolina. She was living. Okay. They were living in Hickory, North Carolina, and so I I said, okay, I'll work on it. I don't know. I wasn't really committed to it, and I should have been. But as it turned out, um, we I didn't get the poem written in time for her class project, which is good enough because the assignment was for her to write it, not her uncle. So, but I wrote it, and this is kind of like you are, Jill, or any of the rest of my kids. Um, when I'm with you, you're my favorite, and when I'm with Carolina, when I'm reading Carolina, it's one of the favorites. Um, and it goes like this: from the gale-swept shores of the Outer Banks to the Blue Ridge Mountains high, no beauty can compare to that of the Carolina sky. In the springtime when the days are warm, the grass is growing green. The old North State is the prettiest place that I have ever seen. I baked myself in summer sun upon her sandy beaches and disappeared for hours only in within her mountain reaches. The autumn comes and paints the slopes with colors all array, while the sandhills are alive with every harvest day. Listen closely to the no me scratch that. Even in the winter time, when nights are cold and long, listen closely to the wind. It's a Carolina song. That's it.
When did you write that?
About 1994.
Nice.
Spring of 1994, anyway.
Whenever I hear you read that story, you know what I think of? I mean, I like it. There's lots of visualization going on in my head.
Being up at your grandmother and granddaddy's.
Being up at grandmother and granddaddy's. I know when I was a kid we went to Myrtle Beach, but I don't remember much about the Carolina beaches. When I think of the beach and ocean, I think of the shores of Maryland.
Ocean City Beach.
Yeah. But
fair enough. Not a lot different other than the water's cooler
yeah.
on the Carolina beaches because of the Gulf Stream on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It pushes the Gulf Stream out, and it's a lot later in the summertime when the water gets warmer up
in Maryland
from Virginia Beach north.
Oh no, yeah, yeah. So no, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Sometimes I hear James Taylor's song "Gone to Carolina" and when you're reading that, sometimes I hear that too. So that's a good one.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else about that poem?
No, I just hate to let my niece Maggie down, but hopefully she's forgiven me by now.
I'm sure she has. Do you know what poem she had done for that assignment?
I don't know if she wrote one or not.
Well, we sure appreciate y'all being here and checking back with us, and hope y'all have enjoyed today's story too. And if you liked it, hit the like button, and be sure to subscribe, please.
And be pretty, and we'll see you in the next one.